Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Stir in the Pot. We are back in full force. It is officially the off-season editions of Stir in the Pot. We're running out of content ideas. I'm just kidding. We've got plenty of content ideas coming for you guys. We're going to start out with the first 16 of the first round mock draft this year in the 2026 NFL Draft, which, for 99% sure that we will be attending. I wish we could do some content there, but that's going to kind of take away from the moxie of it. So we're just going to go and enjoy it in Pittsburgh this year. But before we get into what I think is going to be a good amount of debate, guys, how are we feeling today?
Oh, wonderful. I mean, this week is mid-semester week, so I don't know. You learn throughout your college career that college teaches you one thing, that it doesn't do a good job at pacing your work. One week you'll have a bunch of work, and then the next week you'll have like nothing and nothing to do. And then some weeks you just get steamrolled, and it just seems like you're constantly behind, and it's day after day of just working from the morning till the night, and it's tiring and exhausting. I'm ready for spring break at this point.
Yeah, so much fun. Midterms are exciting. Such a great time. I gotta take another one today. But it's mock draft season. This is where usually 99% of our picks will be wrong, and there will usually be some trades that stun us, but we don't do trades here.
We do not do trades here. We don't like trades because trades are boring. Wasn't it like I think last year it was like there were no pre-draft trades last year. I remember because basically every team had their pick. This year there's a lot of pre-draft trades. I mean, we got Jets got 2 firsts, Browns got 2 firsts, Rams have 2 firsts, which is pretty crazy for their part. Considering they were just like a couple plays away from it being in the Super Bowl and probably winning that Super Bowl because the Patriots were so disappointing. And so a lot of fun picks we got right here. I mean, this is my Super Bowl. My team is so bad. This is the one time year I get to have hope for my franchise. And then we're going to screw it up by taking the worst player possible. Watch the next guys drafted behind us be all pros, but I'm ready for it. So,
yeah, so there's at least 4 teams you won't see in the first round this year. Those would be the Atlanta Falcons, the Indianapolis Colts, the Green Bay Packers, and the Jacksonville Jaguars, all because they traded their first-round picks at some point. Some of them were last year. I remember one of them was last year. It was Sauce Gardner, and that's what the number 16 pick came from. That came from the Colts. But let's get into number 1 overall. Let's not waste any time on this one. Number 1 is the Las Vegas Raiders. It's Fernando Mendoza.
But Drew Allar's right there.
Okay.
But Drew Allar's right there.
He is throwing at the combine, and I'm
really
excited.
He made that one crazy throw against the vaunted West Virginia defense a couple years ago. So
okay.
I mean, he has to be drafted. I mean, Jordan Leslie.
This guy's acting like he could play quarterback at a 6'5", 250-pound level. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I mean, I could also throw for. I mean, what was the point this year where his passer rating was worse? Is if he just spiked the ball every play? So definitely had a better pass rating than him at one point this year. So
this year was a bit of a hogwash for Penn State, but I think Drew Aller is going to be pretty good at the next level. I think he'll do something. I think he'll at least be a pretty solid backup for a team. He'll sit behind somebody for a few years, come back into his own. He's got that NFL frame. I think somebody's going to reach and take a pick on him in like the 5th, 6th round, but that arm talent does not go unnoticed in the draft.
Yeah. Well, are we talking about Drew Aller? Or
now let's talk about the guy who's actually being drafted.
John started talking about Drew Aller and got me going. I feel like the number 1 is pretty consensus.
I mean, clearly it's. I mean, without a doubt, it has to be somebody maybe from Notre Dame. I don't know, or maybe some random quarterback that's not the Heisman winner that had the same stats as Shedeur Sanders last year.
What?
It's
what were you referencing?
It's Fernando, man.
I just referenced multiple people.
See, he's not in this draft.
See, who do you have? You have number 1 though. Mendoza. Stop building suspense.
I'm so worried.
Yeah, I had to have him. Yeah,
I was gonna say stop building suspense.
Jeez,
okay.
man.
Now, if Matt Foley were in this draft right now, he'd have Jeremiah Love winning first overall.
No, dude. He'd have CJ Carr going in after 1 year. He'd be like, all right, we're waving it. He's going 1. But let's go into the number 2 pick because we have a fan of the team of the number 2 pick right here next to us. John Doucette, resident Jets fan, is going to be making this pick for his team. But you know what? Let's let John go first since he gets to pick the number 2 overall pick for the New York Jets and their poverty organization.
Hey, drafting 1 pick behind a great quarterback prospect. We have not been here before ever. Has not happened once in our life. Definitely not. But, I mean, this pick has to obviously be defense. This team's defense was abysmal last year. people on Twitter were calling it the Legion of Whom at one point late in the year because nobody knew who was on this defense. So, but there's obviously kind of three big defensive prospects here. That's Arvell Reese, Ruben Bain, and David Bailey. All three bring very different things. But I think the consensus right now has to be the Ohio State linebacker Arvell Reese. The combine's about to go on probably going on by the time you guys are hearing this. It's probably going on at that time. He's going to kill the combine. This guy is an athletic freak. He is so fast in space. He is an amazing. He's really one of those guys who's like, he gets to one of Micah Parsons kind of, so that guy who played linebacker in college and will likely move to the edge later in the NFL, which is what he's probably going to do for the Jets if they draft him here because they need a pass rusher pretty badly. But he is so explosive in space, and I think about him is that you have to find a way to kind of mix his talents because he's so good when he's ever is on the ball, especially at being like a QB spy type. I mean, there have been guys who have been ran over the Jets on the quarterbacks the past couple years. I mean, Drake May ran all over us, so you put him at spy. I mean, that's going to stop that a lot. But very unique talent right here. Orwell Reese is probably the pick right here, but I mean, there are other contenders, so I'd love to hear who you guys have.
Well, I mean, John, I had the exact same pick as you. I mean, a coach like Aaron Glenn that you so love and you're so inspired by him and his work with the Jets. This team, it could go in several directions in the draft. They could either trade down and get more capital, even though they have a lot of capital from the Sauce Gardner trade. The smart move here would to build a supporting cast for your future quarterback, which I don't think they're going to try to reach for in this draft, or maybe they'll try to get somebody from free agency like Murray. The problem with this team is that there's a lot of directions they could go in, and I feel like Arvell Reese is the safest option right now for the Jets. They need to fix a little bit of things on defense. Yes, they have other needs. I saw that wide receiver was a need for them for some reason. That's not an immediate need. That's something you could fix in later rounds or maybe through free agency. But this just seems like an Aaron Glenn pick. Arvell Reese. I mean, there's a lot of Ohio State guys in this first round. I think I counted about like 5 to 6. It's a good class if you're an Ohio State fan.
Yeah, good class for them this season. And I think especially now if you're the Jets, you need a guy on defense, as John mentioned, pass rushing and the ability to be a linebacker and can cover multiple positions on the field. Arvell Reese is exactly that. That's why I have him going at 2 to the Jets. I think if you look at that overall need, Aaron Glenn, a defensive head coach, you have a guy like Arvell Reese who is known for that explosion. Obviously he's not Micah Parsons, don't get me wrong, but kind of the similar style of play. It kind of reminds people a little bit of him, but obviously that's a high expectation to reach. But I think for the Jets defensively, Arvell Reese can do it all for him, and I think for Aaron Glenn, can't ask for much more.
Well, guys, we're 2 for 2 to start out. I also took Arvell Reese. I think, like Dom said, I know a lot of people have their doubts about some of these defensive players. You can't go wrong if you pick a defensive player here for the Jets. Arvell Reese is the safest pick here. He is going to translate to the NFL the best. The only other player I think I could have seen at this position, I know a lot of people are taking Caleb Downs. I could have seen David Bailey here. He's not the most complete pass rusher. I think Arvell Reese brings everything to the table. That's what you want.
I mean, the comp of same form is Edgerrin Cooper, who's been a really big part of that Packers defense the past couple of years. I think at minimum he can kind of bring that same kind of aggressive chase down linebacker style. And I think as best he can be a guy who can play some off-ball linebacker, kind of help out there, and also just be an amazing fast pass rusher. But on number 3 we go, the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, this is one where you could kind of go in a few different directions.
Oh, man.
I think this one is the best direction for them. They need somebody to protect their future quarterback that they will be drafting next year. They're not going to take a quarterback this year. This quarterback class is either Fernando Mendoza or bust, pretty much. If they had the one, they'd probably take him. But I think they need to protect whoever's up there. Pair Paris Johnson with Francis Mauigoa. I think that's going to be a great pick. He was very good for Miami going down the stretch, and he was a bulldozer on that offensive line.
Yeah, this is probably one of the other picks, probably been one of the more consensus ones. I mean, this team is very, very dire straits right now. They have there's a lot of holes in this roster. I mean, they also have a big quarterback issue with Kyler probably getting traded this year, but you can't hurt helping out the offensive line. Mauigoa was amazing in the playoffs, really just shut down those great edge rushers he faced from all sorts of teams. Indiana just could not do anything against them on the blitz. But yeah, he's a great pick right here. And you're seeing you pair with Paris Johnson. That's your 2 cornerstone tackles for the next 5-10 years.
I'm very scared for this.
This is where Dom does something stupid.
No, this is not where I do something stupid. They could have gone in multiple directions here. They could have selected, as you guys said, some offensive line help. But I went in a different direction with some offensive help for the Arizona Cardinals, specifically from concerns about James Conner and him potentially leave. Yeah, I did.
You picked Jeremiah Love
Yeah, I did.
at 3? Oh, wow.
Yeah. I feel like okay, so I agree with you that they need offensive line help, but I feel like they can get that in the second or third round. The Arizona Cardinals, James Conner keeps getting hurt. Like, he's been hurt the past 2 seasons. They just can't run the ball. They need to have more. Well, they have Trey McBride. They have Marvin Harrison Jr., which shows up occasionally. Other than that, they don't really have much. And I feel like you got to transition over. If you're getting rid of Kyler, you're getting more draft capital. You'll be able to pick up more guys from the O-line. And, well, I just feel like, specifically in this division, too, it is a tough division. You're not going to win this division if you don't have the firepower to do so, or even be a competent team, which this team hasn't been a competent team for a while. So you got to build a good supporting cast. I agree that lineman will help the future quarterback. I feel like Jacoby does just fine with the line that he has right now, but you can spend, other picks later in the rounds or next year's draft as well to get ready with that quarterback.
It's just hard to find tackles.
But I
later
feel like
rounds.
Jeremiah Love would have an immediate impact on this team. You got to see, how many running backs did this team go through this year?
At least 4.
At least 4. They need a healthy guy that's stable, that can get the job done, that was a Heisman contender at one point.
Michael Carter was a starter on this team.
Yeah, he was.
That's fair.
And
It was
that's
him,
pretty sad.
DeMercado, Connor,
Bam Knight gets him
Bam
right
Knight.
DeMarcado,
Bam Knight was on my
Trey
fantasy.
Benson.
I like Trey Benson.
Trey
He
Benson,
just got
5.
hurt.
I don't feel like Trey Benson's the starting guy.
No.
I feel like he's a good tandem back with Jeremiah
I feel
Love.
I feel like he could start.
I feel like it's a good pick, though.
Yeah, that's a. I kind of like it. If you like Jeremiah Love that much, I would feel comfortable taking him at 3. Heisman contender. I think he's got that kind of it factor that could be a contender in this division for you. But RJ,
Yeah, I think the one thing with this, and I think if Arizona wants to go that route, you trade down. Obviously, there's no trades in this scenario. So if you say they really like him that much, he's blown away in Arizona, Mike LaFleur really likes him, I'm okay. I mean, you can at least make an argument for it. And we've seen crazier Michael Penix. But with my pick, I went with Connor's route as well. Francis Maligoa, tackle for Miami. I think for Arizona, you need that offensive line because that really, for any quarterback, helps them at least look a little bit more productive than when you have a good quarterback and no offensive line. So I think Arizona starts with the tackles. You start building from within there, and I think for Arizona, it'd be a great start.
yeah, outside the top 3 is where we go now to number 4, going all the way down to Nashville, Tennessee. This is going to be fun. I think outside the top 3 is where you start to get a little more wishy-washy. I feel like we say this every year. You could kind of go in any direction.
I think the major problem here is that there's a lot of higher talents, but teams just really need one thing or another thing. And let's say, you have safety Caleb Downs. He's obviously a really great talent, but Tennessee needs this position more than this position to help develop Cam Ward.
So there's a lot of different directions you could go for Tennessee. The one thing that I've always said has been good for this team is their secondary. Their secondaries hurt a lot, but when they're healthy, they are very, very good. They were one of the top 5 pass defense teams when that secondary was all together. The defense, however, was Jeff Simmons and nobody else. A lot of people are saying that they should take Carnell Tate here. I think that's a good pick as well. Getting Cam Ward that one weapon to have him come in with Brian Dable and get that number 1 wide receiver on that board. I believe in the guys they picked last year. Shimere Dike and Elik Ayamander can both be pretty good receivers at the NFL level. I went David Bailey here. I think pairing him with Jeff Simmons is going to be monstrous for a Robert Saleh-led defense.
See, I've watched a lot of Robert Saleh defense in my life. I obviously coached the Jets for, 3 years, and he loves one thing on these defense, and that's a big physical edge who can stuff the run as well as rush the passer here. One of his first signings in the Jets was Carl Lawson, who was very much that mold. Obviously, didn't really work out because of injuries. He also played Michael Clemens for a lot longer than probably anyone should ever play Michael Clemens for. So I have been getting a guy who's very much in that same mold in Reuben Bain Jr. He's the exact defensive end Robert Saleh loves. Proven college success. Obviously, the biggest concern is just some measurables, particularly with his arm length. He's not going to be at the combine, so you won't get a clear answer on that. But, I'm not really sure if that will scare people off, but the production was just obviously there at Miami this year. You saw him in the playoff. He dominated a bunch of very talented offensive lines.
Now, for this pick, Connor, I went with the obvious choice. I went with Carnell Tate. I feel like DK and what's the other guy's name?
Io
Manor. I feel like they've helped Cam Ward to develop, but you need that one. I feel like you get a guy like Carnell Tate, a proven receiver from basically wide receiver university at this point, Ohio State. You complete the wide receiver room. You get that 1, 2, and 3 that Cam Ward will be comfortable with. That'll help him develop. And I mean, after you need a new receiver because Calvin Ridley absolutely dumpster fire. I thought he was going to be way better. I hope he just disappears. But I hope Carnell Tate develops some kind of chemistry with Cam Ward. You get to see him. I mean, he's shown that he's proven, but I feel like Carnell Tate will help him take that next step and help develop like growth mindset kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good pick for Tennessee, especially since Robert Saleh at the Combine and just been glowing about Cam Ward, knowing everybody's name in the building. If you want to help him, get him an offensive guy, I understand that. But as John was mentioning, you got a guy like Robert Saleh. He likes defensive ends. And David Bailey was a wrecker in the Big 12 and even in all of college football last season. I don't think Tennessee's going to pass up the opportunity to go select him. So I think you start off, it's Jeffrey Simmons and friends. No longer, it's Jeffrey Simmons and David Bailey and friends.
I just want to say Olu Odejingbo is very, very good. He's a good pass rusher, but he was out for the year. But number 5, we go to the New York Giants. Again, there's a lot of different routes you go with this one. There's a lot of people saying that Caleb Downs is going to go here, and I'm not mad if you take Caleb Downs here. I think Wandale is not going to come back. I'm going Carnell Tate in this one. I think he's going to pair very well alongside Malik Neighbors. They're 1A, 1B. That's Jackson Dart's receiver core, and that's where they're going to go to the playoffs with.
Yeah, I mean, for the Giants, think about like what positions you really need to get in the draft. There are some positions you can get in free. I think you can get a good receiver in free agency or the trademark. There's always usually a guy out there. Getting a good tackle is very hard to do in free agency. You kind of have to draft your franchise tackles. And I mean, this Giants offensive line, Jermaine Luminore's a free agent. He's a big part of the offensive line. I think he's looking like he's going to leave. Andrew Thomas was great and had a healthy year last year, but he has been very much a weak. He has not been healthy over his career. He's gotten hurt a lot. So if they're one Andrew Thomas injury, which is not uncommon from having a bad offensive line, so I haven't taken Spencer Fano here. You just get Jackson Dart. You want to keep him upright. John Harbaugh's seen good offensive lines in the past. He knows how important they are to a team. You get your 2 tackles who can be their cornerstone future tackles with Andrew Thomas, who's locked up long term. And then if Andrew Thomas does get hurt, you're going to be not in as much dire straits as you thought. So I have him going tackle here.
I went with a different position for the Giants. I feel like they need some help on their defense, not their defensive line. It's become so much. They have so much talent on their defensive line that they can't pay. What's his name? Thibodeau.
Yes.
I mean, you got Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, Sexy Dexy, and Thibodeau. That D line is insane. But the problem to where they lost games last year, it came down to the secondary. And we talked about this last week, that 33-point comeback game. It comes down to the big plays whenever they just insert name here, quarterback just chucks a deep ball. Cornerback gets absolutely cooked. Game's over. That happened for the Giants at least 3 times last season, and was the reason that Dable got fired. So I don't know how to say his name. I'm going to say his last name, Delane.
Oh, Mansour Delane.
Going to the Giants.
Okay, wow. I like it. I love Mansour Delane. I have him going in the top 16. I think he's very worthy, but that's certainly you've got two guys that I think might actually, if they have a really good combine, they have a chance of going that high.
Yeah. Wow. Hey, have reasons behind them. They make sense for me in the Giants' direction. I'm kind of agreeing with John here. Trying to keep Jackson Dart healthy. Guess where it starts? The offensive line. Spencer Fano's there available from Utah. He's really good at tackle. I think the Giants select him, play the safe route because Dart's already had some injury concerns. You want to try and silence those, and you silence those by having him not get hit and having a good O-line. Spencer Fano's the start of that.
All right, now we go to pick number 6. I would let RJ have this one, but we already said the name that I'm going to pick right here. I'm going to take Spencer Fano with this pick. I think it's going to be a good pick for that. Whoever they decide to go with at quarterback, whether they keep one of the guys from this year or they draft somebody next year, you're going to need somebody experienced on that offensive line. They're not getting any younger out there. I think Spencer Fano definitely brings that kind of AFC North physicality. I think he's definitely going to fit into the culture there, so that's where I went with that.
Yeah, I mean, my board kind of fell kind of awkwardly for the Browns. So obviously, they want to get a tackle here, but they have 2 first-round picks. Maybe they'll kind of circle back to that. I mean, I haven't taken Carnell Tate. make RJ happy. Keep the Ohio State guy in Ohio. He's not going to go to another AFC North team as they usually have in the past. RJ would buy a jersey the day he gets drafted. I just know he would.
I might.
Unfortunately for RJ, it's always what you don't want. And I already had Carnell Tate going. He doesn't want. I mean, I'm sure you'd be thankful for you. I gave you guys a receiver. I gave you Mekhi Lemon.
Okay.
I know there's like discrepancies between who's after Carnell Tate is kind of like Mekhi Lemon, Jordan Tyson, and then
Denzel
Boston, and
Casey,
it's kind of
Casey
like
Conception, Omar
Casey
Cooper.
Conception. All those guys I have in the first round, it's like you can shuffle or intermix them. Either way, Cleveland needs a receiver. It's clear. I mean, after the Jerry Jeudy incident where he fumbled going down the goal line, I think you need to look at different options. It just doesn't seem like he's that playmaker that you guys need. I don't know if he stays with you guys specifically. Maybe it could be in the two.
Could.
But Cedric Tillman's way better, honestly. Well, at least he can hold on to the ball.
Well, sometimes. Was Spencer Fano off your board, Dom?
Huh?
Before I go on was Fano
No.
off your board?
No.
It's not off his board.
Have you taken a tackle yet?
No.
They're both
You haven't even taken Maui Goa?
Yeah.
Maui
Dom
Goa,
hates
okay.
O-linemen. We know this.
All
so.
right.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We forgot about the Penei Sewell
Oh,
incident.
jeez. I'll break this down. I think it depends on the scenario at 6 because if there's some nightmare scenario where both tackles are off the board and Carnell's down, you're going to see this pick traded down. That's Andrew Berry's special. But for me, I have Carnell Tate being available because both tackles are on the board. If either tackle was on the board, I'd have them slid instead. This tackle class, you want to get one of the top two, but if you can't get there, you can go next best. Wide receiver Carnell Tate out of Ohio State. Very big, physical, great route runner. I think something Cleveland's very needed on that receiver side for whoever the QB is. Shadur, Deshaun, name it. Just don't pay Malik Willis $30 million. That's all I ask.
They might. They genuinely might. On to pick number 7. This is the third Ohio State guy I have going here. One thing that we saw with Jaden Daniels off the field for a large portion of this year was that there's a lot of holes in this Washington defense. The Washington defense had to play a lot, and guess who's not getting any younger? Bobby Wagner. Sonny Styles is going to come into this defense, and he is going to wreck the NFC East.
This is the popular pick. I've seen this a lot on most mock drafts I've looked at. I haven't gone Dave Bailey here. I love the Daniel Jeremiah tweet where it was, I watched most of the top tackles film on this class, and the one thing they all have in common is most of them got cooked by David Bailey in pass rush. So he's a true pass rusher. He's one of those guys who's just going to come out there and try to get you 10 sacks a year. I guess the run is not very good, but I mean, that pass rush talent is real, and for a team that has really lacked a great just dynamic edge for a while, and been linked to a lot of them in trade talks, you're going to get a good guy right here at 7.
Now, I feel like I've already disrespected this individual, but this is the first team that PFF claims needs an edge. So I went with, of course, number 2 ranked player, Ruben Bain Jr. to go to the Washington Commanders. Again, this team needs a lot. I don't really understand what's going on with this team. It came down to the Jalen Daniels injury. It seems like a portion of the roster is getting a little bit older after they basically just hired a bunch of old guys to try to make. Well, Jaden Daniels. Now I'm getting confused with the guy from Kansas that's actually in this draft and probably won't get drafted.
He might be a 7th rounder. You never know.
Oh, okay.
Just because of his running
maybe
upside.
He'll be a receiver like Garrett Green. Maybe. I guess the Big 12 legacy carries on. But Ruben Bain Jr., I mean, he's a disruption. If you put him in a game, he can ruin. He can be a game wrecker, destroy your game. He's that type of player that would really help the Washington Commanders' defense, especially because their defense is garbage.
Yep, talking about the Commanders' defense, went with Ruben Bain Jr. here as well. He just fell on the board. I think for Washington, you could obviously switch him in with Sonny Styles as well. I think it'd be a great selection. But I think with a player like Ruben Bain Jr., especially in the CFP title game, that performance, I think that elevates him higher than Styles here, just barely. But I think they go the edge rusher out of Miami.
All right. Pick number 8 is where it gets fun because there's a lot of different guys you could pick. And this is a very popular
I
pick.
hope we're going the same one.
And I love this pick because Alvin Kamara has been getting into a lot of trouble recently. He's not getting any younger. I love Alvin Kamara. I watched him in his Tennessee days. He was a freak. Been a freak in the NFL as well. Has one of the best fantasy performances of all time. Carried me that week, by the way. But number 8, I think this pick is going to upset a lot of Chief fans. I think Jeremiah Love is going to the Saints, and I think it's going to be so fun to have him and Shuck in that backfield.
Yeah, I mean, I have the exact same pick. Jeremiah Love going here at 8 to the Saints. I think a couple of things. One, they've invested a lot in the offensive line over the past couple of years. They have a pretty solid offensive line now. Obviously, they took Kelvin Banks last year, Taliesin Fuaga the year before that, so they've kind of had some good investment there over the past couple of years. And look at their coach. Their coach is Kellen Moore. He was firsthand to see how important Saquon was to that Eagles team a couple of years ago, and they were just running all over everybody in that Super Bowl run. So I think you're going to take a dynamic talent at running back here, an incredibly fast player, and just kind of you have him in that backfield with Shuck Connor, as you mentioned. That's going to be just a nightmare for offenses to stop.
Now, if I didn't have Jeremiah Love going to the Cardinals so early with the third pick, he's definitely going to end up here. It just makes the most sense, as you guys mentioned, the trouble with Kamara. But I went defense. I feel like you can get a second receiver that will complement Olave well later in this draft. I feel like for right now, and the best available I have on the board, I'm going with edge rusher David Bailey. I feel like he'd make an immediate impact on this team.
He didn't go yet?
Wow. No, because I want all. Yeah, Washington's the first team. By the way, PFF is a bunch of liars.
They are.
But, yeah, with position needs. Well, not only that, but I don't know. I just felt like the other teams had immediate needs elsewhere.
I'm praying that this sets up for the best pick ever at 10. I'm praying.
Oh, for your? Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, you'll probably be very happy.
Yep, you never know. But for New Orleans at 8, this is kind of my first more splashier pick, not as expected. For New Orleans, obviously you have a lacking need at receiver. There's been injuries there multiply. There's been some outside chatter about Chris Olave maybe being dealt. The only part is, are they going to take the chance on his durability? I think they will. Jordan Tyson of Arizona State is my selection for the Saints here at 8. A little bit iffy about it, but as of right now, I think they have to go for the weapon with Tyler Shuck.
I love that. I was so between picking Jordan Tyson and Jeremiah Love, but I think it'd just be so fun, and I think they're going to play spoiler for the Chiefs, who definitely have a need at running back. But number 9, obviously, falling to the Kansas City Chiefs, of course, because why wouldn't it be? Because the Chiefs have a top 10 pick, and they're going to have Patrick Mahomes back at like at the halfway point of next year. Woo, going to be great. But number 9, I think they go best available. They need to upgrade that defensive line. Chris Jones isn't getting any younger. Ruben Bain goes here. I think he's a game wrecker. And I think the fact that he's not going to the combine is going to be a bit of a it's going to kind of hurt his draft stock a little bit. There's been a lot of talk about NFL GMs not liking how short his arms are. I don't think that's going to be an issue. There's a lot of edge rushers with short arms. I know Trey Hendrickson was one of them, and he's been doing just fine.
Wait, who'd you go with?
Ruben Bain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Will Campbell's Super Bowl performance is going to have some bad short arm PR for probably until the next season starts. But I mean, we're on what year 4 of the Chiefs being like they have no weapons in offense. They have to get somebody out there. The receiver room has been just abysmal. I haven't taken Jordan Tyson now. His medicals are a mess. He has not been healthy at all in his time in college. But when he has been on the field, he is so dynamic at a receiver. He can kind of do anything you want at receiver. He can play the big jump ball guy. He can play in the slot if he has to. He can kind of just slot anywhere there. And this team they need to get weapons from Mahomes. They really just do at this point. Rashee Rice is just not consistent enough, and they just don't have. They've been missing that explosive element to the offense since Tyreek Hill left a couple years back. So you get Jordan Tyson here, and then you can he'll be the best year Mahomes had since Tyreek Hill, I think, day one.
Speaking of Tyreek Hill, there's talk that he might go back to the Chiefs, so that won't really take effect until next year. Not this next year, but the year after that because of his injury. But I think Rashee Rice is kind of like another Alvin Kamara situation. It's kind of like you have to get that kind of position to secure it at some point. That's why the Saints do that, and that's why the Chiefs do that. I like that pick.
I didn't really go offense here. I was thinking about going offense because I feel like we talked about Tyreek Hill, and apparently Travis Etienne was interested in going to the Chiefs. So I kind of just went with the safe option. The Chiefs need some O-line help, clearly, as Mahomes gets pressured a lot. I went with another Miami player. I went with Francis Malagoa.
That's where you have him going? That's like the last team I would have thought that would take a tackle. Actually, that's actually a pretty good pick.
Let's imagine I'm imagining they either take Hill or Etienne.
Yeah.
You got Worthy. Pacheco's there for.
I'm so done with Worthy, man. I'm so done with them.
Worthy. I mean, Rashid. He's his own case, but I don't know. And again, you could probably get. There's so many receivers in this draft. If it doesn't work out for you, maybe they get Wan'Dale Robinson. Nobody ever knows in free agency. But you clearly need some offensive line help. Good talent, best on the board. Just take him. Safe pick.
Yeah, Dom, it's a great pick. Obviously, also there are no trades in this scenario, so I think if Marigoa goes past 7, there will be teams like just biting at the phone to give the call to the Saints or Chiefs. But it's always what you don't want, Dom. You've taught me that, and that's why I have Jeremiah Love going to the Kansas City Chiefs because I know it's going to happen, and it's going to ruin my day.
Well, okay, there's multiple. It's always what you don't want. I don't want Travis Etienne there. I don't want Tyreek Hill there. So
you're going to have all 3 of them there.
Boom.
Oh,
boom. Super Bowl.
I am praying. I am praying to the Lord Jesus Christ Almighty that we all have the same pick here. Because this would be a home run.
He's not off our boards, is he?
For the Cincinnati Bengals. Nobody's taking him.
Nobody?
I would love this.
Oh, what school did he go to?
All right. Let's think.
Throwing up the number that he wears.
What number does your guy wear, Dom?
I don't know what number he wears.
What position is he?
Safety.
Yep, we all picked the same guy. Thank you, Lord. We all picked Caleb Downs.
I mean,
this is a wet dream for me.
Jeremiah Love's off the board, so they can't take him there, even though Mike Brown just wants to really badly.
Stop it. All right. These next 3 picks are all players that I would love the Cincinnati Bengals to take for me. If you picked anything in the secondary, you are correct. It doesn't matter. As long as you pick some defensive player, there's no bad pick here for the Bengals. But Caleb Downs would revolutionize this defense. You know what the big thing that this Cincinnati Bengals defense is missing? Jesse Bates. You know who plays like Jesse Bates? Caleb Downs. You know who has potential to be better than Jesse Bates? Caleb Downs. And I think this Cincinnati Bengals defense is going to thrive if they get Caleb Downs. Sorry, I had to go on my little mini rant there.
I can't wait till we're at the draft and they take Jeremiah Love
I
over
will
Caleb
cry.
Downs and we get to see Connor cry.
They trade up and then just take another receiver.
I will go right to the concession
Denzel
stand.
Boston!
Oh, my
I will.
goodness.
If we pick Jeremiah Love, he's a great player. Don't get me wrong. You will never see me leave the concession stand that night.
I will watch every Bengals game every year.
I will not be able to
'cause they win
stand.
50-50 every game.
I tell you what, I've had 2 exceptions for Ohio State AFC North rivals that have gone to this team, Sam Hubbard and now Caleb Downs. I would be so excited to see him in Cincinnati. I would be rooting for his success 16 weeks out of the year.
I don't understand it either. I mean, Connor, you always say that ever since Jesse Bates, a star safety in the league, left to go to the Falcons, that the Bengals have just they clearly never been the same. This team always gets cooked in the secondary. Doesn't matter how many points the offense can slap on the board.
Yep.
For some reason, like the Bears game, they always just come back and beat the Bengals by like 1 or 2 points. You need that guy that doesn't get cooked, and I feel like Caleb Downs is definitely the person to do that. Even though Cincinnati has a tendency to draft only offensive players like Jermaine Burton for some reason, the pajama pants dude.
I didn't mind that pick at the time. I thought Burton was going to be kind of that sleeper receiver, but we all know how that ended up. He was too busy gambling. But on to number 11. This is where these are the fun picks that come out past the top 10. I feel like the top 10 is usually sort of set. Number 11, the Dolphins are a fire sale right now, so you can pretty much go with any position. I think they need to shore up their secondary a little bit. I would take Jermon McCoy here, but the ACL injury really kind of irks me, and it's probably irking a lot of NFL GMs. I took Mansour Delane here. I think he's going to be a nice physical corner for them that they need in that division that's starting to get a lot better.
See, Connor, I did take Jermon McCoy here.
Okay.
I also took Jermon McCoy. Well, because I had Delane.
First off,
I think it's going to be like a what was his name? ECU. That the Cowboys took. It's going to be like a Siobhan Revel.
But he
thing.
was
Did he
so
get the
good in
start?
24.
Did he
Yeah,
start?
He was better in 24.
Jermon
than
McCoy was an
this year.
All-American. He was a preseason
And
All-American.
he plays good in zone. And before we go on, I have to read this Dolphins cornerback depth chart. It is hilarious. Cameron Goody, Quentin Bell, Jack Jones, Juju Brents, Jason Marshall
Who
Jr.
are these people?
Did you just say Jack Jones?
Jack Jones, Storm Duck,
That Jack Jones?
Cater Kohu, Rasul Douglas, we won't slander because he's a Mountaineer, but it is bleak out there right now in
Not looking too
Miami
good.
secondary.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add other than this team can go in several directions. Yeah, they could go quarterback too. We don't even know if they will,
They'll pick somebody up in
or
free
if
agency.
they'll go with Tua. Nobody really knows the direction that this team is going to go in. So,
Dom, you forgot about
John,
the Green Bay Dolphins.
John, speaking of Mountaineers, there's a lot of
Dolphins.
talk about Geno Smith going to the Dolphins. Could be
Hey,
two
he
Mountaineers.
tortures every week. He's so funny.
wait, Geno Smith's a Mountaineer?
Moving
Oh
on.
no! I thought you
on.
meant Geno Stone from the Bengals.
No.
There's no coming back from
no.
that. That's getting close.
Raiders
Geno
quarterback.
Stone.
That's getting
for
close.
some reason.
Lord.
Thanks for the promo, Dom.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thanks, Tom. I appreciate it. Somebody write this down.
That's
But
No
crazy.
problem. I just had a
It's
brain
like 30.
fart
It's
there.
like 34 minutes on this one.
What was
Jesus.
the Geno Smith quote? If just blame it on me, or something like
If something's
that.
going wrong in your life, just blame it on me. So
Yeah.
like every single comment is like, "This is Geno Smith's fault."
Oh, poor Geno. I have the Dolphins taking Mansour Delane as well.
Yeah.
I think it's the more safer pick. I think he's been incredible, and he can kind of match up with anybody. And I think it's something Miami needs, considering you don't have barely any secondary.
Yeah, Delane's draft hype kind of came up once his tape started flying around TikTok and Twitter and all that. He is a physical man-to-man corner. He's great in zone as well, but I think he's kind of got that dog mentality that comes out of the Bayou. I think that's really what they produce down in LSU. Number 12 is the Cowboys. This is where I went Jermod McCoy. I think they also really need to shore up their cornerback room. They had a lot of trouble getting cooked this year. I think the ACL injury is going to just get him past 11. I don't know if it drops him any further. That's why I'm taking him at 12 for Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, any defensive player here is really a big, besides nose tackle, because they have Quinn now. But, I mean, any defensive player is probably a good pick for him. I have him going with Sonny Styles out of Ohio State right there. And one of the best true Mike linebacker prospects you've seen coming out of college in a while right now. He's a true inside guy. But you saw him on every tape. If you watched the big games Ohio State played in this year, he was everywhere. He was just a big playmaker right there. I think the Cowboys getting their future Fred Warner type, that future field general, is going to kind of be the commander of that defense as they try to make it kind of bring it back to life after the Micah trade.
Yeah, I also want defensive here. I want a defensive lineman. I went with Peter Woods from Clemson.
He just signed Quinnen.
The
need
duo.
They need
They play a
duo.
4-3.
And not only that, but this defense, they need help. Their offense is really good. Kind of like Timu Bengals a little bit.
Well, Peter Woods is kind of like that. He's a run stuffer, but I feel like he'd pair very well with Quinnen. I have him going like pretty late in the first round.
Peter?
But yeah.
They had him either like 15 to 20.
Him-
He was a faller. He was a big faller
Him
this
and
year.
TJ Parker. TJ Parker is
I do have TJ Parker
really
going in
good.
the first round at some
I do
point.
too.
Okay, so was waiting for Dom to be done. Yeah, Cowboys, I got Sonny Styles. I think this is a great fall pick if he falls to 12 for Dallas. I think just really what he's done, especially that Big Ten title game, just really reminded me how useful he was to Ohio State throughout his time. Constant starter. He just played incredible, I tell you what. You always see him on the field wherever he was, making a big play. I think Dallas would get a steal if he get him here at 12.
So 13 is where my picks start to get a little more interesting. At 13, what's the one thing that you need to maximize right now if you're the Rams? The rest of Matthew Stafford's career.
Oh.
Turnovers.
Devontae Adams is not getting any younger. And I feel like if they want to keep Matt Stafford around, they're going to need to build more receivers around Puka Nacua. I feel like they have the flexibility. They've been building their defense for a few years. I have Mekhi Lemon going here. I think Jordan Tyson's going to fall a little bit after that because of his injury history. But Mekhi Lemon, coming off that spectacular season at USC, I think he's going to slot in and play very well with Matthew Stafford.
I just don't think he's really the mold. How am I gonna look for a guy who's going to kind of be that Devontae Adams type, the guy who just runs goal line fades and catches passes from Matt Stafford all the time. But their secondary was a big problem this year. They were pretty respectable in the first half of the year, and then really kind of collapsed down the second half of the year. Came back to where we all thought it was. This is a great fall. I have Mansour Delane going here. If he ends up falling here, the Rams are going to be rushing to get that pick in. He can start day one in that cornerback spot and really just kind of help revolutionize that defense because they're going to lose some secondary guys in free agency. Cam Crow's a free agent. I believe they brought back Quentin Lake. I believe
They did, I think.
Wait, who'd you go with, John?
Oh, with Mansour Delane here. Help out that secondary because it's a bit of a problem right now.
I love cornerbacks. I already have two. I had McCoy and Delane already go. So I had Clemson cornerback.
Avion.
Terrell.
Yeah, Terrell. Go here. John, and that's exactly why I selected them to select a cornerback. They're having guys, step out the door. You need to replace them. And in a tough division like this where you have the Super Bowl champions and the 49ers and occasionally the Cardinals every few games. Well, they'll give you a fight, but they never win. You need some help in that secondary. Now, the D-line has done miracles with Jared Verse. They've done really well in their drafts these past few years, and their defense, D-line-wise, has been capitalizing. But, yes, they need to fix the secondary, or else it's going to get ugly.
Yeah, I also went secondary for the Rams. I went Jermod McCoy. I think they take the risk, even though with the injury. I think L.A., especially with that corners, that secondary, in a tough NFC West division where you have high flyers like the Seattle Seahawks. I think you have to go secondary. Got to try and match it and even it up somehow. I think they go McCoy here.
Yeah, the only reason I didn't go Avion Terrell here is I've been seeing a lot of people mocking him late first round. There's a lot of people who have issues with his hips. I think they don't like the way. I don't think they like the way that he rotates when he goes back, which is pretty big for a corner.
Like he's delayed.
Yeah, he does kind of have delayed reaction times, but he is a very good coverage corner. He's obviously brothers of A.J. Terrell, who plays for the Falcons. He's a former All-Pro. But number 14, I hate this pick because it would work. I really don't like this pick. What's the one thing that the Ravens have always had trouble with as long as we've been fans?
Receivers?
Yep. They've got Drop City. That's basically B-more.
It's going to be Denzel Boston, isn't it?
It's not. It's Jordan Tyson, which is a great pick, and I hate it. I have Denzel Boston going in the first round, just not to them. And somebody in this room is going to really like.
No, I don't know where he has him going. I mean, I was very disappointed in this Ravens defense this past year because it was just I had a lot of high hopes for it and just did not perform this year. A key part of that was that they were bottom 5 in sacks. So I haven't getting a guy who can rush the passer. I haven't getting Cassius Howell at Texas A&M. He got a lot of sacks this year. He can kind of be that just true dynamic pass rusher they've been lacking for a while. And I mean, they need someone who can get after the quarterback. They just have not had that the past couple of years. And it was really disappointing last year to see how this defense kind of collapsed. But Jesse Mayer's going to like him a lot.
This defense in general for the past few years, John, has not been to the standard that it used to be. It used to be a well-respected unit, a top 5 if you'd have it. Like, I think 2020 they were a top 5 unit. They've fallen off so tremendously that they need any defensive help that they can get. So, in this case scenario, it's what RJ doesn't want. Sonny Styles is going to be a Raven.
Oh.
That just makes me want to cry, man. Oh, my God, I would hate that so much. I hope he goes before that. But for the Ravens, kind of to echo Connor's point, Connor, I think we flip-flop these receivers because what does Baltimore need? Always a weapon. What are they doing? Negotiate a contract with Lamar. What do you do? Get him a weapon. Kyle Lemon.
Then you throw to Mark Andrews, and he drops it. Yeah.
Yep, there you go. So you have him throw to Mekhi Lemon instead out of USC. I think Baltimore can really use his ability. He was really incredible last season. For Baltimore, you get another weapon for Lamar.
All right, 2 more picks for this episode. Only doing 1 to 16. We are at number 15 right now. This is probably one of my favorite picks of the draft. There's an aging core on this team, and they're going to need somebody to step in for it. Can you guys name that core on the Bucs? That's getting old.
Levante David.
Yep, it's the linebacker core.
I thought you were going to say the wide receiving core. Oh. They need another one.
That could be fun, but I think this might be one of the surest picks in the draft for me. He's one of my favorite players. I think this is a home run pick for them. C.J. Allen out of Georgia. He can do everything. If you watch SEC football, he's flying around the field. He was in every single passing lane. I think he's one of the best.
Rusher?
He's a linebacker.
Oh, linebacker.
He's a Mike. But I think he's one of the best coverage linebackers in the draft, and he is tenacious on that defensive line. When they run him in those sets, I think he's probably my favorite player in the draft. I love this pick for the Bucs.
Yeah, I mean, we just saw earlier that Kirby Smart had some high praise for him, basically saying he would run my defense for me out there on the field. That's really high praise from one of the great defensive minds of college football right here. I'm guessing we're seeing him pretty shortly in my next half of this mock we do. But for the Bucs, I want to find a place for this guy high because I like this player a lot. I feel like players at this position usually go pretty highly. K. Otton's a free agent this year. Mike Evans is probably going to leave for free agency right here. I have him going Kenyon Sneak right here. This guy is a dynamic player. He's one of the most just interesting tight end prospects we've seen in a while right now. They love getting weapons for Baker right there. They had a lot of injury problems in that front last year. K. Otton, if K. Otton does in fact leave, Kenyon Sneak's a guy you can slot in there right at tight end, and he can just kind of be this dynamic threat. I am very high, and I think it's going to go probably top half of this mock, if not any earlier. He's just an incredibly fun player to watch, and did a lot of great things to the Oregon team this past year.
I want defense here, and I want with edge rusher Keldrick Falk from Auburn. I feel like it's a solid choice. The Buccaneers, they could have problems on their offense this year. Actually, it just seems like every year all the receivers just get injured, and it just becomes some mess. And then Baker Mayfield's and throws a bunch of interceptions, and then somehow the division always ends up coming down to the last week. Anyways, the Carolina Panthers will win this division anywho, so what matters with this team? They need some defensive help. Just give them a guy from Auburn. I know he's solid. They do need some help with pressuring. They probably need help with the secondary too. Their defense is all right.
Yeah, Dom, I had him going defense as well. We flipped. I was debating about putting Falk here, but I went and Cassius Howell instead, the edge rusher out of Texas A&M. I think his explosiveness will allow Tampa to pick him up. Their edge rushers to me are a little bit iffy. I think if you have add in a guy like Howell's more explosive, get that pressure to the quarterback, maybe even ruffle up Bryce Young's feathers, you might have a better chance at winning the division.
I would just like to say, I don't get the Cassius Howell hype.
I have him going a little bit later,
I don't have him in the first round.
like 4 to 5 picks.
I think there's a lot.
Wow.
I think there's a lot better edge rushers in this class. I feel like with the history of recent Texas A&M edge rushers, that's no snide.
Oh,
that's
you're
no
just
snide
biased
to Myles
against
Garrett.
Shamar Stewart. That's what
No,
you're biased
come on,
against.
dude. Yeah, dude. Shamar sucks. Every other edge rusher has sucked, and it's just that A&M defense just isn't edge rusher friendly.
See,
It's
I hate
weird.
Keldrick Falk of Shamar Stewart.
I
They're
don't-
the same
Why?
player.
I think Keldrick Falk's going to get drafted in the first round, but I don't think he's going to be worth it. I think there's a
I
lot
agree.
better edge rushers in this class. I've actually got like in the next one, their first 3 of 4 picks are edge rushers for me, and none of them are Cassius Howell. But 16, oh boy,
Oh, great.
hey John, I wonder if anybody's going to
Just
agree
do
with
it.
me
You're
here.
gonna do it.
I
Yeah.
feel like John will really like this pick.
John is not going to like this
What are
pick
you
from
going to
me.
say?
What's the one position that the Jets are probably in need of most?
Quarterback?
Yep.
Oh, you're going to go Ty, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I'm going Ty Simpson for this one. This
no,
is a
dude.
classic Jets pick.
He is not in
such
my
a Jets
first
pick.
round.
I mean,
He
here's-
shouldn't be in your first round, but I think the Jets are going to take him.
I do have him in the first round. I do have him in the first round.
Oh, I
just
know where
think-
you have him.
I just think.
See, if they were smart.
Is there a person in this room whose team is on their
Yep.
run? Okay, yeah. But going back to Tyson.
from Dub.
That's
Going
not.
back-
That's not. No. He's
Oh, next
getting
episode's
hyped
gonna
up
be
right
great.
now.
I can't wait for
He
this.
should be a bottom of the barrel, 3rd or 4th round guy.
You had him as your
Whoa.
Heisman favorite this year at a point.
That
in
was
time.
before. That was before it showed that he didn't do well under pressure.
He was also injured. He played through an injury. He played through a disease.
Well, boohoo! I don't want him on my team.
I do think he will go first round. I really hope it's not the Jets because, I mean, it's always that conflict. Like, what's better for the coaching staff might not be better for the franchise. The coaching staff, I feel like, could use a quarterback to kind of tether themselves, too, even though they kind of probably have to pick one next year. But, I mean, if the board just falls the way, I think the obvious pick for the Jets here is receiver. If the board just fall that way where there's no receiver available, I can kind of see the Jets maybe taking a swing on a quarterback right here. And worst comes to worst, just Josh Rosen and getting him next year. But for me, at least, the board fell. I had to take Mekhi Lemon. If he is
Wow.
here, which might, I mean, there's a lot of good defensive talent right here. So I'll not be surprised if the receiver does fall. Whether it's him or not is going to be surprising. But I love Mekhi Lemon. I mean, you watch what JSN did this year. You watch what Puka's done. You watch what Amon St. Brown has done in the league the past couple of years. He's kind of that exact same mold of receiver. Maybe a smaller guy, maybe more slot guy. But in terms of just running kind of crossing routes over the field and getting open, or just amazing route running, Mekhi Lemon is going to be perfect for that. And if Jets can get him, if he falls to this pick, that'd be an awesome pairing with Garrett Wilson right there.
John, I feel like Aaron Glenn's just gonna pick all defensively. I had you guys select Arvell Reese. I'm gonna have him select Caleb Banks at this pick for you guys.
Don't hate it. Don't hate it.
I mean, I love it. This guy kind of. I read his profile. He kind of seems like he's 6'6", 300 pounds. They say in his draft, like his scouting report, that he runs like he's 40 pounds lighter. It kind of reminds me of Darnell Washington a little bit, the pure size. And I mean, if a guy is 6'6", that guy's huge.
We just compared a nose tackle
To a tight
Darnell
end.
Washington.
But
to a
I'm
tight
comparing
end.
size and build.
I would hope your tight end's not that big.
Darnell Washington
Darnell
is
is
that
that
big.
big.
Well,
Large.
yeah, that's Darnell.
He's a
That's-
large
They
person.
call him Mount Washington for a reason.
Yeah, I think it was Omar Khan or somebody who said he is like one of your cornerstones for the future. Hope you enjoy that.
This guy's just intimidating. Like, if you lined up against this guy, I'm sure it would be any O lineman's worst nightmare.
Yeah, Dom, congratulations. I think it's the first time besides Mendoza that we've agreed on a pick. I'm going to go with Caleb Banks as well for the Jets. The way the board falls, John, I think if a guy like Lemon or another receiver that the best available wasn't Denzel Boston, I think that would be a little bit of a reach here for the Jets. And I'm not going to be not nice person to you and have Ty Simpson here. So I went Caleb Banks. I think really for the Jets, it helps your interior defensive line out a lot, especially considering you traded Quinnen Williams. So what do you do?
I
Get a little bit of a
I don't
replacement.
know who's on the steel line anymore, man. I mean, Tyler Barron plays for this team. Do you know who he is? Exactly. No, he's a fake person.
Yeah,
not
your
real.
2 tackles, Harrison Phillips and Jay Tuffle.
This guy's
Phillips is
Fele.
actually pretty
Cool.
good.
Caleb Banks is definitely like a disruption to any offense too. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna do it for us for this one. We're gonna go back next week with our second half of the first round. That's gonna be a fun one. I think you guys are gonna get mad at a couple of my picks, but I had to make John mad. I had to have Ty Simpson. He was either going 16 or 21.
there
in
wasn't
my
anything
opinion.
insane today, which is
It's gonna get insane. It's going to get really insane. But we hope you guys will tune in to the next part of our first round 2026 NFL mock draft on the next episode of Stirring the Pot. We will see you guys in the next one. Peace.